Well, I couldn't help it, but I decided to make a follow-up video because, well, mainly because 15 minutes just isn't enough to say everything that I wanted to say. And not to mention, it's been over 3 years since the last time that I created a video. And I was looking at some videos on YouTube, and I decided, well, hell, it's been a while since I've done one, so let me update my stuff just a little bit. I don't have the capacity to make a whiz-bang video right now, even though that's what I enjoy doing. When I love to edit, so, and I love to put music and stuff, so, but here it is. So bottom line is, I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on my mother and growing up the way I did, because I failed to be able to say in the last one that my mother, and like I said, I love my folks, but my mother's a controlling woman. She really has, she's always been. And back in those days when I was either 14 or 15 years old, and I got caught, with that letter in my notebook, that it would have made a world of difference to me to be able to say, to have the courage at that point to say, yeah, I wrote that, and that's the way I feel, and where do we go from here? But I was a coward then, mainly because I was made to feel it was wrong. I had people, the leadership, or the people who ran the school that I went to, made me feel it was desperately wrong, even though, come to find out sometime later, that there were a few gay teachers at the school. And in fact, one of them was having sex with students. And that was a big scandal that they made go away. And I'm not trying to down them, but, hypocrisy is a bitch, isn't it? So, for, the woman that said, the old woman, which was a kindly woman, God love her, hey, she believed what she believed, and that's fine. Okay, but the problem is that, her telling me that homosexuality didn't exist at that school, sorry lady, but it did. It did. Because you had to make it go away. And I know about it. And other people know about it too, but this is all ancient history. So, moving right along. I have to say that, when my folks discovered that note, like I said, I wanted to say yes, but instead what I did was I jumped up, I grabbed a piece of paper, and I crumpled it up. And I denied it. When I did that, it's almost like instantaneously that my folks stopped asking questions and pretended like it just didn't happen. And I think that's the way they kind of wanted to deal with it, instead of facing it head on and saying, son, we're your parents, we love you, let's talk about this. How do you really feel? And don't be afraid to tell us the truth, because we're not going to make you feel bad for anything. We love you. And that didn't happen. I know we don't live in a perfect world. It's not an ideal place all the time. And I'm sure that I could have had it worse. But at the same time, being excuse me, being left to feel like I need to keep this to myself, or I'm gonna face more trouble, or I'm gonna be made to feel bad about who I am, or anything of that nature, was not the right thing to do. Because I was left at that point that I was you know, following my hormones more than, you know, anything else. I was attracted to other guys at school. And in fact, you know, now that I look back on it, and I'm not proud of that, you know, making a few passes here and there without consciously realizing what I was doing. And now I realize, you know, why I was treated the way I was treated sometimes. And even then, you know, if anybody I went to school with is watching this, you know, I don't fault you for feeling how you felt. And if I offended you, I'm truly sorry. But I was left with no support system, nobody to talk to, and nobody to explain to me, you know, lay out the rules, say this is how it is and this is how it's going to be, and this is what you need to do. I didn't have any instructions at all. You know, so I was stupid, you know, and I realize it now. I made my mistakes, and like I said, I'm dreadfully sorry, and I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. You know, but in those days, you know, the 80s were one of the greatest decades ever, as far as I'm concerned. You know, we had some of the greatest music, movies, and all kind of stuff. But it was also one of the worst decades too, because of AIDS. You know, and I'm tired of being afraid of those two words, gay and AIDS, gay and AIDS. It is what it is. You know, and even at the age that I'm at, you still feel a hesitation, but that is because of the years and years of feeling like that I needed to cover up and hide, and you know, and like, you know, Demi Moore said in Disclosure, lock it up, veil it, and throw away the key. You know, and that's all bullshit now. You know, it's a whole brave new world. They got people, men and women getting married. You know, we have all kind of shows and stuff. You know, and I'm sorry, but I'm not really into drag or anything, because that just wasn't my bag. You know, I don't disrespect it, but at the same time, you know, to each his own. You know, I honestly, you know, and I'm not trying to put down effeminate men, and I hope that I don't come across as one. Not because I'm trying to hide, but because I think that you know, that some men who are effeminate kind of drag the rest of us down, and I'm sorry, but it's true. You know, you guys out there that show your asses, and you know, you give us all a bad name. You really do, and don't even realize you're doing it. Much the same as, you know, I didn't realize how I was behaving in high school. You know, that's my own fault. But you guys, some of you guys out there, are just really off the wall. Ooh, God knows I've seen some weird, well, some really interesting stuff. You know, and stuff that I personally wouldn't want to lay claim to and call my own. You know, but you know, for some of you guys out there that do drag, you know, I'm sorry, but y'all are some ugly bitches. You know, and you really just need to kind of give it up. You know, if you look in the mirror, and if you look like Peter Falk, dressed as you know, Joan Crawford, then you need to give it up. Sorry, drag just isn't for you. There's some people that can pull it off, like RuPaul, and some of the people that, you know, some of the people that go on his show and, you know, and you know, try for the next best drag model or whatever. You know, I can't even remember the name of this show. So I can't help that. My mind goes blank from time to time. You know, a friend of mine had put on Facebook a post that said, I can remember the lyrics for every 80s tune that I loved, but I can't remember the reason why I walked in this room. And God knows that's true. That's true. It's shameful, but it's true. And, my memory's going. The sad part is that I just hope that I'm not traveling down the same road my father is. He has Alzheimer's, and, you know, he's slowly slipping away. That does not bring me joy. But at the same time, this is hard to say. But, my father and I just we never really saw eye to eye. I mean, there were times, I've always felt awkward around the man. But that's because when I was a kid, like I said before, he ran us off. He didn't want to, he made it seem like he was scary. And this was the same man when he was working. He would stir up all kind of shit where he worked. I mean, and try to act like a bully or somebody who was just unapproachable, crazy. And that's just, my father's a product of a lot of different things. But it's like I said, the bottom line, honestly, that's still my father. I love him. And, but I just can't feel it, if you can understand that. You have to excuse me, I'm suffering with a drip. But anyway, it's like, and I still love my mother, but, I feel like they put me at a disadvantage because they didn't really question what I was, and they didn't give me a chance to get the help that I could have used, or the discussions, the communication didn't take place. That's the biggest problem. There wasn't enough communication between us. My mother lived in her own little world. My father wanted his own little world. And by the time I was 14, my sister was married and gone. What's left for me? There were several times, I swear to God, that I used to look in the paper for, I wanted to run away. I wanted to run away. And I used to look at ship departures and stuff like that. And I found this was my fantasy then. I found this deserted island that somewhere in the Bahamas. I don't remember the name of it because it's been years. And I just had this idea that I would run away and go stow away aboard a ship and somehow manage to find my way to this island. Thank God that I never actually did it, because I probably would have starved to death. But I think that now that I've seen more and more videos, about teens who run away or they're thrown out of the house, which I saw one earlier this evening, and I think that's deplorable. That is disgusting. And I hate parents. If you put your child out for being gay, you ought to burn in hell. You really ought to, because you are wrong. You don't do that to your child. Throw them out of the house because they're gay. Way to fucking go is the answer to that. You shouldn't do something. You should not do that to your child. That is the hardest thing. You're sentencing your child to death at that point, because they won't have anywhere to go. And that's shameful. Oh, well, this was another 15 minutes. Like I said, there just isn't enough time to talk to you. But I'm going to try. I don't think I'm going to do it tonight, but I'm going to definitely try to make more videos and try to get my point across. Thank you for watching. Good night.